Today, we meet another successful business founder who's not in the sexiest of industries, but who has a marketing mindset that I personally wish many more had. He loves marketing, he respects it, plays with it, and guess what? He sees the fruits of his marketing labours time and time again. It's a high-growth episode 584 of the 12-year-old award-winning Small Business Big Marketing podcast.
Well, I said, welcome to a small business marketing show, where successful small business owners share their souls to take your marketing straight to the lead. Now, here's your host, Mr. Tim Reid.
And welcome back to your weekly dose of fruitful marketing. I'm your host, Timbo Reid, and I have an insatiable curiosity for uncovering marketing ideas that help businesses just like yours to grow. How do I do that? Great question. By having in-depth conversations with successful business founders from around this crazy world. You, infinitely more importantly, are a motivated business owner, ready to crank out some great marketing to build that beautiful business of yours into the empire it absolutely deserves to be. And that's exactly why this show exists. So a big thank you for tuning in. As per usual, team, there is marketing GOLD dripping from the ceiling over here at Small Business Big Marketing's HQ. So let's get stuck right in. Righto, team, let's meet today's guest. His name is Jason Spaull, and he's the founder of Coastal Asbestos. I met him on an event that I was speaking at on the Gold Coast just at the end of last year. He came up to me. He said he's a long-time listener, 8 years. I apologise profusely, but why would we want to hear from Jason Spaull? Well, he's running a business that operates in a very dangerous industry. I think it is anyway, asbestos. So I want to find out about that. 7 years in, he's built a very successful asbestos removal business with 14 staff. He's won a bunch of awards. His love of marketing, I've got to tell you, is contagious, and I love that. And he's doing some marketing that I have a couple of question marks over, which is working for him. Advertising on buses being one of them. We're going to find out about that. He's had the courage to niche down into, a small industry, I guess, asbestos removal. And he has a very a wonderful openness regarding business owners' mental well-being, as he lost his brother, who was also a business owner a few years ago. And we're going to have a bit of a chat about that later on. So, guys, welcome, please, Jason Spaull. How are you, buddy?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Thanks for having me on.
Well, thank me at the end. You with me?
Every relationship's great at the start.
Correct. We've got an hour to muck it up. Mate, asbestos. Every time I've ever heard that word, it sends a chill down my spine. It sounds incredibly dangerous. What is it, and is it dangerous?
Yes, mate, yeah. So asbestos it's a natural mineral that's mined and mixed with building products, pretty much. That's how it got in your home. So it's in cement-based sheeting products. So the basic ingredients of like your fibro shack or your asbestos roof, the flooring, all that kind of stuff is basically sand, cement, water, and asbestos fibres. Now those fibres gave it sort of a bit of flexibility, and it was like reinforcement for it. Without those fibres, it would just be sand, cement, and water, and it would break and snap easily. So,
unfortunately, those fibres are not friends with our lungs, correct?
No. So asbestos is known as the deadliest mineral known to man.
Wow.
And was put into over 3,000 products back in the day. Luckily for Australia, in 1985, it was totally banned in the building and construction industry. And by about 2005, it was banned in other products. They use it in anything that they wanted to shield heat or provide insulation, pretty much. So it was in gaskets, brake clutch linings, heat shielding for stuff like that. But the good news is it's only in buildings built before 1990.
Okay.
So if you've got a house that's built after 1990,
happy days.
You should be right. You should be fine, yeah.
Jace, tell me then, given how dangerous it is, why did you choose to get into it?
Well, I guess it goes back to my roofing days. Started in the building trades as a metal roofer. And as a young metal roofer, a big part of metal roofing is asbestos roof removal, asbestos guttering, asbestos downpipes, removing. A lot of it gets damaged in storms and it's claimable by insurance. So I guess I just went along with what everybody else was doing. We removed a lot of asbestos roofs back in the day. I then moved on to having my own business, and we did a lot of insurance work. You know, and the changeover from roofs to houses was the 2011 floods when they hit Queensland. So we were doing a lot of asbestos re-roofs at the time, and because there was a massive skill shortage. You know, you think there is one now. Back in there when those floods hit, there was no one around to do anything because so many people had been flood affected and so many people had split to all the corners. 75% of Queensland was declared flood.
Wow.
Back then. So you couldn't get tradesmen.
No.
So we were approached by insurance builders, said this asbestos licence you've been doing the roofs, can you do houses with it? And so we put together a team, and that's how we sort of got into the crossover from just roofing into homes.
I imagine your biggest cost insurance must be huge for you each year.
Oh yeah,
massive.
Insurance and labour. So we're basically a labour hire company. Not that we do labour hire, but our biggest things are labour and asbestos transport, and then and dumping and compliance. They're the three biggest costs in our business.
Right. Okay. The dumping. What do local tips have? What areas where they're dedicated to asbestos? Where do you put it? So
you can only go to a registered waste facility, so they're not all able to take asbestos. There's a government website where you can check. In Queensland, New South Wales, every state has one. And every single tip has different rules, conditions and pricing.
Yeah, okay. It wouldn't be cheap, I'm guessing.
Well, you know, it's like we take it to the tip and put it through law school, don't we? Put it through university.
What do you mean?
Just the cost of the transport and the dumping. You know, it stays in the ground.
Yes.
And it's wrapped in 2 layers of builder's plastic.
Yeah, right.
So it's not going anywhere.
Not going anywhere.
Once it ends up in those tips, it stays there and it's there for a long time.
Tell me, is it an industry, Jace, that's full of cowboys?
Oh, I think... Is there an industry that's not full of cowboys?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, like asbestos removal industry is like any other trades-based industry. That's my only experience in business. You know, I've been a tradesman my whole life. And when you look around, the confirmation bias kicks in, and there's an asbestos removal company on every corner, just like fish and chip shops.
Yes.
If you look hard enough.
Right, okay, because how competitive is it? I mean, it's almost a silly question, how competitive is your industry? Because, you know, I don't think I've interviewed anyone that this is an industry that isn't competitive, but you've been in business 7 years. Have you noticed competition increase in that time? Were you sort of...
Yeah.
Was it easier back then?
Yeah, it was easier back then because we didn't know as much. And we had a smaller scale of the business is smaller. But I would say as far as... So for trades-based businesses, you have about 3 different types. One, guys that are just subbing in for people. They think they've got a business, but they're not. They're self-employed. And then you'll have a guy who's doing a little bit of work here and there. And then, like us, we have our own equipment, all of our own staff. We don't use subcontractors. We have marketing. We operate like a fully fledged business like it should be. And we're the only one that specialises in that on the Gold Coast.
Is that right?
Yeah. A lot of the others are that medium size, you know, where they sort of do a bit of work for other people and they do a little bit of work on the side, or they might be a smaller crew that's an owner-operator and 1 or 2 labourers.
So just to be clear, Gold Coast, for those playing along at home, population of around 500,000? That'd be right.
Yeah, roughly, yeah.
Large regional Queensland's biggest regional city, obviously. And what you're saying is that you are actually the only business on the Goldie that specialises 100% in asbestos removal. Everyone else is doing something else as well.
Yeah, a lot of the demolition companies, like at the moment with the shortage of land in southeast Queensland and the knock-down rebuild kind of thing. So those guys that knock down the houses, they'll have their own asbestos crews. But we don't sort of subby for them because we prefer to go straight to our own clients.
Do you ever get tempted, Jace, to kind of spread the wings and do something else, or are you really quite solid in terms of staying an asbestos removal business 100%?
Yeah, and we have done that recently. We had a focus on what we wanted to do was to get the asbestos part all systemised and perfect and run with teams. And now that we really want to stay on the Gold Coast, we love the Gold Coast, we're a Gold Coast-based business, and the northern rivers. And there's plenty of work down here for everyone. And so to increase our market share, what we've decided to do, some of the technology that we use with asbestos removal, we use some HEPA filters. It's pretty much the same standard that they use in the COVID wards in the hospital. So we can come into any environment and seal off an area and have our negative pressure units going and filter everything out of the air. So it'll be cleaner than the air we breathe.
And you're right. So it doesn't have to be asbestos. It could be anything. Okay, that's interesting. I suppose it sounds like it's early days for you in moving into that part of the business. It'll be interesting. I'd love to chat to you maybe in a year's time to see whether it was a distraction or whether it was an incredibly smart move and it's added. It's tripled your revenues or whatever. But because I do love the fact. I mean, I speak a lot about niching on this show over the last few years, and I love the courage of business owners.
It's another niche in demolition. We did a couple of series of Our House Rules, a TV show.
Oh, did you?
And we had to perfect it during that because surprisingly enough, everything that you see on the TV actually happens. So we had to remove 4 tons. Yeah,
that's nonsense. Mate, I said before this interview, I said no lies, and here you are off bloody, on live podcast.
No, mate, the Channel 7 were amazing. They were really good. They gave us heaps of information how it was going to go if it went right.
How did you get that? I've had maybe 2 or 3 businesses owners over the last couple of years that have found themselves on reality TV as providers or suppliers, not as guests. How did you find yourself on Our House Rules?
One of our most loyal and longest builders that we work for, they got themselves on there and we were one of their suppliers.
And what did it do for your business?
It's really hard because it's pay to play, and that's fair.
Yes.
And we didn't want to pay.
Is it?
Oh yeah. Look,
why is it fair?
Well, because it's a national TV show. If you want to show your logo, you want to be part of it.
Yeah,
you can pay.
I know.
You can pay, I think that's fair. That didn't stop me from walking around the set all day with my uniform on trying to get in the shot. I got in the shot a few times.
You are good at that. I'm looking forward to that conversation very shortly because your marketing radar, I think, having met you once and having spoken to you a couple of times, seems to be on 24/7. So well done. So you did pay to play. Do you mind if I ask what it cost? Are you allowed to reveal that?
No, we didn't pay. I think it was. I think that there was like about 10.
How did you avoid that?
Well, we just worked for our builder. And we actually, I don't know if you watch those shows, but they have black tape that they put over any logos that aren't part of or competing sponsors. Yeah. But they looked at me and I had my shirt on and they said, "Oh, you'll be all right. That won't show up on camera." And I thought, is that a dare? Challenge accepted.
I love it. Hey, just earlier, Jace, you said, in order for you to launch into this second niche, you worked hard at systematising your current asbestos removal business.
Yeah.
What did that look like? How did you go about that? Because it's music to my ears. I know a long-time friend of this show, Dave Jennings, who owns Systematology, is very, very, very big on systems because all of a sudden all that hard work frees you up to do the stuff that you want to do. How did you go about systematizing?
We started just with documenting some SOPs, so like having some paperwork that showed people how to do everything. Luckily for us, every single job that we do, we have to do a safe work analysis.
Yes.
So we have all the legislative stuff that they expect us to do and we have to have. And then I basically have a checklist of how to do the job from start to finish in that, and the boys tick that off.
Right.
And then we've used some job management software that frees up the office from making a lot of decisions, streamlines it, and it's all cloud-based. If it's not on the cloud, we won't look at it. So everything that we've got is a repeatable system. Our guys work in units of 2, so we can just add more units of 2 to make the business bigger.
Mm-hmm. And the minute you finished systematizing Coastal Asbestos, how'd that feel? Was there sort of a weight lifted from your shoulders?
I'll tell you how good it felt. In February this year, I went down to Melbourne to see my nephew for his 21st, and there was a COVID outbreak, and I got out of Melbourne in time, but I wasn't allowed into Queensland for 2 weeks. So I got stuck doing a little bit of tour of regional New South Wales, and the business ran without me.
Brilliant.
Look, as long as they can contact me, it's okay. I don't have to be there. As long as they could contact me, it can work.
Brilliant. Well done to you for that. 7 years in, what's been the most challenging part of building Coastal Asbestos from scratch?
The mindset changes. The whole what got you here won't get you there. It was really at the start. So just to go right back to the start, I was basically running a busy tradesman business, and I just sort of, we got jobs, we did them, we went through, we got the next one, we got the next one. I didn't even have a website, and we were turning over like 1 million plus. And everyone who's working on word of mouth thinks that it's amazing and they're doing so well, but a few of the boundaries that we set up when we first started this, we didn't really want to work for builders. We wanted to just work for the public because it's amazing for cash flow. And that's the only reason why. So I had to change from the busy tradie mindset to a business owner. So I had to put myself out there, had to go to business groups, mingle with other business owners to see what it was like. Because, you know, my exposure to business before that was
interesting.
Sitting on Besser blocks, eating pies with brickies, talking at Smoko, talking about business. And there's nothing wrong with brickies.
That's funny business, mate. That's not business.
Yeah. And you know, and just that sort of, I had to just keep challenging myself. And I love that episode of Seinfeld where George Costanza does the opposite of everything. It's called The Opposite, I think.
I haven't seen it, but yeah.
And I called it the Costanza Protocol. So I invoked the Costanza Protocol. I thought, all this thinking that I've had, it's not going to get me to be... Because I was walking around saying to everyone, I'm in the business of building the best asbestos removal business on the Gold Coast. So they'd say, what are you doing? That's exactly what I'd say. And people would look at me like I was a weirdo, but I just had to make that switch to make it happen.
You know what, mate? I just think that... Who told you to do that? You did not come up with that overnight, surely, because that is genius.
Well, I think I just got to...
Or did you?
Yeah, I think I got to that place where I thought, I'm really in trouble, you know. Like I hated the business, the roofing business. I used to love it. Like all tradesmen have this, I loved it. And I basically fell out of love with it. And I was sick of being stuck in the business. You know what I mean? I was sick of feeling like I had a job, and I knew I had to change. So the only way to change was to start. And I changed our bank. I changed the way I dressed. I put myself out there. I did all that stuff. So everything that I actually did what George did in the episode. Like I go, I should just do it this way. I'd go, no, stop. What's the other side? What's another way to do it? And it was really slow and hard, but it was worth it.
So it was really I love it, mate. It was these all circuit breakers to take you out of that old space of you're a tradie, pies at lunch, smoko, coffee, jokes with the boys, which is fun, but clearly doesn't get you too far. Whereas you all of a sudden go, I am building the best asbestos removal business on the Gold Coast. You take that mindset with you everywhere. It's like a mantra almost. And, you know, what we say is, you know, action creates reaction, I guess, and that's brilliant. Do you do it to this day still? Yeah,
well, we sort of hit a ceiling of our sales, and I was actually speaking with a good mate on the weekend, and I said, I've got to go through back and check everything now because I think we want to go to another level, and where I'm at now, I'm really comfortable and I can really do it, but I think comfort's the enemy of success and growth.
Ain't that the truth? Yeah, I love that, mate. Tell me, okay, that's been your most challenging? What's been your biggest win? And I don't mean necessarily like your biggest client, but what's been the most wonderful thing that's happened to you since starting the business?
I think in those early days, because like all business owners, you start off, you probably just got to pay some bills. That's why you start your business. And I honestly think people get into small business because they don't see another option. You go, well, I don't really want to get a job, I'm unemployed, or whatever you tell yourself. You just don't see there's another option. And I think one of my biggest, the success for me was we won a Gold Coast Excellence in Business Award. So I'd been trying to reinvent myself from a busy trades business operator to a standalone businessman. You know, and as you know, once you learn those skills, they're totally transferable into any business. So now I'm on a level with everybody else. I can talk about, you want to talk anything about business, I can talk about it all day because I've actually learnt and studied and self-educated myself. So when we won that I felt like this is big.
Yeah.
You know, it was only a monthly one and it was for emerging business and we didn't win the year one, but we were a semi-finalist. And it was like, I think I might have done this. I think I'm a business owner.
Brilliant.
which is, only means stuff to us.
Yep. And the reality is, and with all respect, it's not as if asbestos is the sexiest industry. I imagine the winners on those Gold Coast Awards might have been from some sexier industries. So to even achieve what you achieved, I think is awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Well done.
Yeah.
What's your view on marketing, Jace?
Spider's web. It's just, we draw all work. It's like a picture of spider's web, and you just draw a little bit of work from here, there, and everywhere. So there's really there's no platform that we won't investigate, but we understand we're better off doing nothing if we can't do it well. In saying that, we do SEO, we do AdWords, we're Facebook marketing, paid. I do a lot of posting. We're on buses, we do radio. Our YouTube channel, got over 150 videos on our YouTube channel about asbestos. We have uniforms, sign writing on our vehicles. I think it's...
What you have done, you know this,
Yep.
I just want to remind my listening audience, is you've created a brand.
Yeah.
And I don't think that'd be very common in your industry. And sometimes we create brands without even knowing it. Branding is such an overused term in marketing, and sort of what does it mean? I've always said it means that it's an emotion. You're building an emotional attachment between you and your prospects and your customers and your suppliers and whoever else that's important to you. And you do that by all the different things you've just done then. It is a spider's web. And there are all these touch points and moments of truth where people come into contact with your business. And if each one's singing from the same songbook, and if each one is on message, on point, then you're building this beautiful consistency and branding. Clearly, that's what you're doing. And the little 1% is like uniforms, mate. What? Asbestos removalists are wearing uniforms? This is unheard of.
Well, because we've given our employees an identity.
Yes.
We call them the A-team, because I honestly believe that they're the best in the business, and people deserve the best. So we call our boys the A-team because it shows that we have pride in what they do. So now the new uniforms have got A-team on the sleeve now, so that people can see who they are. And the guys love it. They really do.
Well, that's twofold. The guys love it. Their chests are out. Their heads are held high when they go on site to a client. And I reckon when the client sees that, there'd be an element of, I've made the right decision.
Oh, yeah.
I think the marketing wankers, Jace, call it post-purchase cognitive dissonance.
I've never heard that one. That's a good one.
Thank you very much. Don't ask me to spell it, brother. Tell me, I have heard you say, in fact, a little quote you sent me in the email when you suggested that you come on the show, said, we decided our core message was going to be educational. You've got 150 videos on YouTube. I'm guessing they're not promotional, and I'm using air quotes as I say promotional. I'm guessing they're more helpful?
Yes.
Have you embraced the helpful marketing concept, and how?
Yeah, well, I've got this book called The Boomerang Effect. It's like some bloody obscure author.
Hello.
And he bangs on about helpful content. So I thought I might give it a whirl. Because unlike...
Can I get a copy?
Yeah, mate, I'll sign my copy and send it up to you.
Thank you.
Obviously, we're talking about your book.
Thank you.
It's really hard. Like when you listen to all the ways to market your business, and there's a lot of obvious ways, especially with the radio stuff. You can use it for awareness, for specials and information, because it's so diverse. I can ring the radio station. The radio station's amazing that we deal with. I can say, I want to do a new ad. So yeah, come in the studio, we'll record it. And we just pay for the airtime. So I don't have to pay for if I have 100 ads. But we don't do that because what we decided, and this is what you were saying before, we realised our biggest competition was the people that didn't know they had asbestos. And, our vision is to eradicate asbestos-related diseases in Australia. And we rely on ourselves with the Australian Safety and Asbestos Eradication Agencies, the 4 pillars of their 5-year strategic plan. And the very first one of them is education. So we can't have sales, we can't have specials. So we thought, let's tell everyone, let's let them know if they've got a house built before 1990, it's likely to have asbestos in it. So pretty much everything, the radio ad talks about it, on the buses it's got, is your house built before 1990 renovating, it may have asbestos. So all of the videos are like, what is asbestos, where is it found, different types of asbestos, because, we've got over 6,000 views on our YouTube channel, and people from 32 countries have watched those videos. So someone's watching it, and someone's getting value
Yeah, someone is. I mean, that's not much use to you having people from outside of the Gold Coast watching them, but that's the nature of the internet.
But it buys into our vision to help people be educated about asbestos. So that's why that's a figure that I like. Maybe that's just for my ego, but it's getting through.
Yeah, that's all right. Mate, I'm the same, I think I've got listeners from 110 countries, I think was the last count, which is kind of cool. Okay, this helpful marketing, your line about do you have a home that's built before 1990, that is a fear strategy. And it's not necessarily, I don't mean scary but remember the old Yellow Pages ads with Not Happy Jan? The premise of that was if you're not in the book, then your business is stuffed, and therefore the business owner would panic and buy ads in the bloody old telephone book, right? And it worked. I actually worked on that campaign, a lot of Yellow Pages campaigns back in the day, and it works. When you remind people of something that they have or haven't done or have or haven't got, then you are creating a bit of fear, and clearly that's working for you. It's a line that will probably do you well for years to come.
Yeah, well, let's face it, mate, no one knows an asbestos guy. But you know what? Everyone who buys a house knows roughly when it was built. Most people know that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So if they're going to do some renovations and we get in their peripheral vision and say, hey, guess what, have you checked? And that can start the ball rolling for us. And that does two things. It helps us with the awareness, and it helps. Obviously, we're advertising for the whole industry, but I'd rather keep people safe at the end of the day. Obviously, we're here to make money, but keeping people safe. We went into this because we wanted to. I'm still a qualified metal roofer. I still want to do it. This is what I want to do. This is more fulfilling for me. This is that sort of that why. So when you have that why, it's really good when things go really good, but it's essential when things go bad, because we're fighting for something. And that's why it's so important.
Yeah, that's a powerful one, mate, to eradicate asbestos disease. It's massive.
Yeah.
Has that found you associating yourself with some kind of foundation or charity or?
Yeah, we
actually
did a job for the head of an asbestos disease charity and association, and we sort of reached out with them and tried to help them, but they don't have that much money, so they've really got to look after the people that they're there for.
Jace, that strategy around, or that line about, it was your house built before 1990 reminds me of a great marketing tactic that a lawnmower bloke I spoke to used, which was he got onto Google Maps or Google Earth and was able to look at individual streets and individual homes, measure the size of their lawn area, and then put a personalised quote in their letterbox saying exactly that. I've just checked your house out on Google Earth. You've got 400 square metres of lawn. It'll cost you this much for me to mow it on a weekly basis. Genius. Have you done anything like that where you have personalised letterbox drops in streets where you say, do you realise your home was built in 1983? As a result, it would have asbestos in it. If you are thinking of renovations or whatever, please give us a ring and we'll sort you out. Have you done something like that?
So what we have done is when an asbestos roof is impacted by hail, it actually scuffs the top surface of the sheeting and exposes asbestos fibres. And surprisingly enough, the insurance company isn't ringing all their policyholders and saying, "Oh, guess what? There was a hail event in your area. We'd like to send someone out." So we've got some flyers that we have sitting in our office. And it says, if your roof looks like this, give us a call. We can come in there and do an assessment for people. And we say to them, look, ring your insurance company, tell you might have a hail claim, ask them if they'll pay for the asbestos roof report that we're going to do. And if they say yes, great, get us over and we'll do it. If they say no, make a claim. Make sure you make a claim if your roof looks like this. And that's something that we've been able to do that's been really helpful for people, because to replace an average asbestos roof on your house is about 30 grand. Including a new roof and all the stuff that goes with it. Our bit isn't the whole bit, but that's our version of that sort of. I know it seems a little bit opportunistic, but it is too for the homeowners, because
absolutely
most people don't know. They have no idea because they think it's not leaking. It's not a claim, but it absolutely 100% is.
I don't think it's opportunistic at all. I mean, it's real. It's a real issue that you don't know you've got, and you're just bringing it to the homeowner's attention. Jace, tell me about advertising. You are, I'm going to say prolific, maybe not that big, but, you spend a bit of dough on buses, on outdoor and radio. How did that come about, and how do you know it's working?
It's that, what are we doing now? How do we get to the next step? How can we get more? We were lucky enough to have a meeting with Mandy from the radio station, and she's very convincing. And we thought, we'll see about this. And then she must have rang the bus guy. And the bus guy come around and went, we'll see about this. And then we sort of mulled it over. Yeah. And it was, to my wife's credit, Karen, she runs a business and I just work here. Yeah. We thought, you know what, we can get to more people on the radio. But if they can hear my voice, I'm in one ad and we have another ad that's a conversation one, because everyone loves a voyeur, they love listening in, and see our faces. So they hear my voice, they see my face on the bus. And like you said before, the Gold Coast is a small area. We go from Kingscliff to Beenleigh, our service area. And it's great. Look, if you talk to people and say, how did you find us? You might get a few people say the bus, you might people get the radio, but it's part of a full marketing strategy for us. And we believe it works because we watch our turnover and our figures and we are slowly increasing. We're increasing every year, so the business is building. Word of mouth is important. But I think if you're in a specific area and you have a simple message, I think buses are perfect because they're mobile billboards, they're everywhere.
Interesting.
And you get stuck behind them. So they're there in your face.
Yeah, that's right.
And even I have been sitting there listening to the radio ad has come on and stuck behind one of our buses.
And you're looking at yourself, mate.
And laughing my head off. Good. I think this might work.
Tell me, it's great to get the mediums right, and I've spoken about this in the past. One of the fundamental marketing kind of theories, I guess, is there's message and there is medium. Your medium is radio and bus sites. You got that right. In terms of the message, what work did you do? Was it something that you came up with? Did the radio station, the bus people give you some advice? Did you employ an agency? How did you come up with the optimal message? Because advertising ain't cheap. No matter, even if you're in a regional area, it still requires a spend.
Well, I guess it's that thing where I was saying earlier, we thought, what's our biggest competition? What's our biggest reason why people don't call us? And then it's not the cowboys. It's not the people removing asbestos illegally. It's the fact that people don't know. That is the biggest reason why our phone doesn't ring. And I'm still convinced to this day that's why. So it was, it's that hack. You know what the hack is? Do the work.
Yeah. Funny
and
that.
Be absolved in it. You know what I mean? Like it's the hack is to actually be fully focused, concentrating on what you're trying to do. Obviously, I've had business coaching for years and that came out of that and those conversations. I'm in a marketing accountability group with two other business owners.
Awesome.
And I have been for 3 years. And it's one of those great groups where everyone's invested in everyone else's success. And it's cold and hard if you get it wrong. You'll get shot down. And that's why we value it. And I've got a lot of mates who have been very successful that are great to lend an ear to me. And if anyone, and that's the problem with me, someone asks my advice, I'm going to give it to them because I think by sugarcoating it, you're doing them a disservice.
100%, buddy. Tell me, what do you say? You're prolific in personal development, which I love. It also tells me that you consume a huge amount of information. If you've always you're hopping into your car, you've got a podcast or an audio book on, you've got accountability groups, you've got a business coach, you go to networking events, you saw me speak, that is awesome. However, there comes the point then that you got to action, right? You got to implement. So how do you manage that intake? It sounds like a fire hose of bloody business and marketing information coming in. How do you manage all that and actually decide what to implement?
I guess once you've read a lot of business books, they're all the same, pretty much.
Except the boomerang effect. I heard that's different.
It was unique, but someone's going to copy it. But they have the same parts. But there's that, as you always say in the show, there's that gold. There's that you're looking for that gold. So you're basically scanning it.
And
you'll hear it.
You know when you've hit it, don't you?
Yeah. I think the idea of, I was trying to change my mindset and who I was. So by osmosis almost. So if I just had it going, I would absorb it all. And what that does is it helps you build up a bullshit filter. and it helps you sharpen your radar. And the reason why I do it now is it's like this philosophy of sharpening the sword. You always like just keep it flowing. I'm not sort of obsessed, but like where I saw you and you challenged us to do 30 videos. I did a Facebook video on every day and it was Asbestos Awareness Month, so it was a really good opportunity.
Oh, perfect. So
every day for 30 days I did that. They've all been uploaded to our YouTube channel and optimised, and that's like a massive chunk of that done.
So there's now, Jace, there's a bunch of listeners going, how did you manage to run a business, to do everything that requires, and then he gets told at a speaking event, okay, 30 videos, and the next thing you know, you've done it. Do you just do it? Do you go, okay, that sounds like a good idea. I'm not going to think about it anymore. And you and I both know that the reality of that idea is it sounds massive. It's actually not. It's actually pick up your phone, do a selfie video or a Facebook Live or whatever, Insta story, whatever you want to do, and you know your stuff. You don't have to script this stuff. You're the business owner. You're the expert. So share your knowledge, and you just record yourself for 2 minutes. So is that, is there any other thing you want to add to that? Because I'd love more of my listeners to be doing those kind of marketing initiatives without thinking too much about them.
Okay, so if you're going to go into anything, you have to set yourself up for success. So we invested in one of those banners. When you see all the red carpet thing and they're standing in front of them and they're taking the photo and the logo and all that stuff. So we invested in that. So now I've got a place to record videos. Then we bought a tripod, $20. I've got an iPhone. I've got some microphones, cordless ones, so I'm in for about $230. The banner was expensive, but it doesn't have to be. You could just have your logo on the wall. And then a little bit of video editing software, and just like pick one thing that works and just stick with it, with that kind of stuff. And then what I did was I come in on Saturday mornings. I'm an early riser. I'm up at 4:30, 5 o'clock. Some Saturdays I just banged out about 7 in a row, and I just plough through it. If one of them I forgot, I've done that many. I'll go, hi, I'm Jason from Coastal. I didn't even edit it out. I thought, if I edit it out, that just complicates it. Let's just leave it in. It's me. People, I don't know how much of the content
people buy from people.
Yeah. I don't know how much of the content people are looking, but like this builds familiarity, and they go, here's my kind of bozo, that guy. So, and it's good content. And like you said, I didn't script it. I didn't bother. But I did take up 2 things from you that day, and one was you got to have a good intro and you got to have a good outro, and the 30 videos. So if you see the first ones, I forgot that they're not as good, but I'm not going to go back and change them because it's done. Like sometimes done is better than perfect. A lot of the times.
Well, absolutely, and you highlight that the importance of, again, all this helpful marketing stuff that I bang on about. It does require you, the business owner, to stick your head above the trench. Say, here I am. I know something that you don't. I'd love to share it with you. And it does. It requires you to put yourself out there. Fortunately, you know your stuff. As the business owner, in whatever you do, you'd hope you know your stuff. So be yourself, and laugh, forget your business name. Don't worry about what your hair looks like or your voice sounds like. It's not about you. And this is just, I say this because I want more and more business owners to embrace this aspect of marketing without the fear of whatever may happen. Generally, it'll be pretty good.
Plus, too, like I'm only talking to our target market. I'm not I can't convince somebody to use us. If somebody wants to do their own asbestos removal, there's nothing I can do to make that. Like, we're really lucky. We work for really smart people, people that have gone, I think this is a bit beyond me. I'll call in the experts. So that's who we're talking to. So if someone, like I can tell you right now, my mum doesn't even watch the videos. So if someone really wants to watch that video, they're going to watch it because they believe they're going to get value. So I don't have to worry about my chances of winning a Logie.
Well, you've got 2 shots at winning a Logie, Jace. You've got your video, your YouTube channel, which I'm not sure there's a category in the Logie Awards. It's a national TV award for overseas listeners. But you've also been on My House Rules, mate. So, keep spreading yourself and something will grab.
Oh, something will.
Now, Jace, just to finish up, on a serious note, you did lose your brother a number of years ago to suicide. He was a business owner.
Yes.
I'm really sorry to hear that, brother, and I know that for you it's again, but I guess, been a massive mindset shift. From where I come from, there are far too many business owners, looking down, particularly in these COVID-infected times where life's just that little bit tougher. How did your brother's passing impact on how you approach running a business?
Well, because we were the same. You know, he was a busy tradesman, he had a trade-based business. And it really woke me up to the fact that, yeah, it's all good fun working word to mouth and getting these jobs and all these things, but to get some business coaching and start approaching this as a businessman, because like I can only talk about the trades. There's a definite bell curve with tradesmen. You start off at the bottom as the apprentice and the sweeping the floors. You get to the top of your height of your powers in your mid-30s, and then the money just drops because you can't hack it anymore. So the body's going to give out. And that's where we both were. We were both at the same stage. I was probably a little bit luckier. I didn't take as many risks as he did. He took a massive risk, and the failure of the business, it just runs to a script. You know, the alienation, family breakup, eventually bankruptcy, and because as small business owners, our identity is so tied to who we are and what we do. Like, I had a QBCC license for roofing. You know, one of the things to starting this asbestos removal business was to let go of my roofing license. And it really hit me when I got the letter saying, you know, your license is being cancelled because you haven't paid your money or whatever. And I was like, geez, I'm not even a bloody tradesman anymore. You know what I mean? And it's a big deal. And it, you know, and Mark went through all those kind of things. And the stress and all the troubles and the drama just got on top, you know, and it's too much. But I think through our own lack of foresight, we might set ourselves up for these things. And we don't take what we're doing seriously enough, and it can lead to traps. I think, Sue, it's really important for business owners to acknowledge their mental health. You know, like being able to take a breath and stop and find, like, I like silence. I love silence, you know, like to have, I start my day every day in silence. I sit there and I've got this book that I read a bit of the book, I drink some water, and then I go. But that's okay because it sets me up for silence. And trying to manage your own emotions and manage, sort of have some plans where you're going to go, because a lot of people's mental health comes from this feeling of hopelessness and no direction, and maybe they start going through the motions. Everything's good while money's rolling in and there's no dramas and customers are happy. And that's the time to start working on these things. And I don't want to be, you know, pessimistic, but that's coming for most of us. And to try and prepare yourself for it is definitely worthy. You know, otherwise, like, I was on the outside, you know, and things just spiraled out of control for him. And things just, it's so hard to help someone when they're in that mindset, because, you know, even... Yeah, he was my brother, but he was a man. He was his own man. You can't just walk up to people and say, hey, snap out of it, because all these things are good. You know, it's not how it works, is it?
It's not how it works.
I wish, you know, things like places, industry associations like Mates in Construction are really good in the building and construction industry. But I think, you know, talk about it. People got to talk about it, you know.
Well, I think as business owners, Jace, we sometimes put ourselves in a position... We take this mindset that, well, we're the owner, we're at the top of the tree. And I don't say that in a sort of arrogant or egotistical way, but like, it's like, I can't talk to my staff about it because I don't want to show weakness.
Yeah.
If you're a bloke, often you don't want to talk to others because you're a bloke. Women are better at it.
Yeah.
But I guess, you know, just to wrap that up, and thank you for sharing that. I know it's a very personal story and probably still very, you know, fresh in your mind, but it's important that we do have these discussions because there are business owners listening that are doing it tough. And I guess, you know, what I totally endorse what you said and encourage you, if you are listening and doing it tough, to go and talk to someone, to join a group, to admit that, you know, there's a weakness in the business or in yourself. And, you know, just because you're a business owner doesn't mean you're Superman or Wonder Woman. It just doesn't work like that. So I think the more we can talk about it and get it out there and make it normal, you know, words like anxiety, depression, suicide, you know, all this stuff. I mean, you know, they're not great places to be, but boy, oh boy, you know, if you don't talk about them, they can get a lot worse.
And, you know, like I always say to people, like when you get to my age, most of my mates got enough dirt on me to put me away for 5 years. So why wouldn't I say to them, mate, have you got a minute? Just, you know what I mean? Like, they already know.
Yeah, that's right.
All the dumb things.
I say the past guests, the guys from Trade Mutt are doing a really good job around this. These are these crazy annual workwear. What's and on the back of every one of their workwear shirts, which are incredibly, you know, you cannot not notice their workwear shirts. They've taken high vis to another level, but on the back of every shirt says this is a conversation starter, I think is the line, which then encourages people to say, what's that about? And all of a sudden the conversation starts around mental health in workplaces. So it's pretty good. Thanks for sharing that, buddy. Jace, well done. You built a great business. I think you're inspiring. Thank you for being such a long-time listener, but thank you for being an action taker, because that's where the magic is. Coastalasbestos.com.au. If you're on the Goldie and have a house that's built before 1990, you need to contact this fella. And even if you don't, just get him in and talk marketing, because I reckon it'd be a good conversation. Thanks for joining us, Jace.
Thanks for having me on, mate. And thank you to, you know, you're one of the guys that I like to think I had a Ute-versity. As I was driving around in the Ute listening to podcasts, and you were one of the guys that I latched on earlier on, and I thought, I don't know, like most tradesmen, all this bloody marketing's, I got word of mouth. Yeah. My work speaks for itself, you know what I mean?
I've got this, mate. Yeah. I don't need any podcast or ebook.
Yeah, no. So thank you for that. I know a lot of my mates are very envious that I'm on here today, so...
Good on you.
We all listen to you.
Thanks, Jace. There you go, team. Avid listener, marketing lover and founder of Coastal Asbestos, Jason Spaull. Now, as with any chat I have that includes business owner wellbeing, if you're doing it tough, maybe you're feeling low, please contact your local support group, maybe talk to a friend, or here's a little strategy, show some gratitude towards someone else. I find that the best circuit breaker when I'm feeling that way. You'll find links to all the resources, including my book that Jason kindly bought, read and implemented, along with past episodes Jason also mentioned over at smallbusinessbigmarketing.com/584. Hey, I'd love to know what grabbed your attention from that chat with Jason. Call me. Call the Small Business Big Marketing hotline on 0480 015 150 and let me know. Or maybe you want to share a marketing idea that's working for you. Or tell me how I can make your favourite business podcast even better. I'm all ears. 0480 015 150. Save it to your phone. Call me, just like Kay did.
Hi, Timbo. Firstly, I just wanted to say that I absolutely love your podcast. It's entertaining and full of value. My name's Kate. I've been listening for the last 3 years from the beautiful Sunshine Coast. And next year, I'm launching a children's occupational therapy business, Kids and Collab. And just wanting your tips on the best marketing strategies in a B2C service-based business. I'd love any episodes I should go back and listen to in particular. Thanks again for being a weekly source of entertainment. Look forward to hearing your thoughts. Bye for now.
Hey, thank you so much, Kay, for calling me. You didn't leave a business name, no website address. I would love to have promoted you. Maybe you're still in that planning stage. Don't know. But whatever, good luck with your new business. So I wish you all the success in the world. Now, great question. Best B2C, business to consumer. Very formal language there. Episodes for a service-based business like yours? Here's 5. I always say the one with Joshua Nichols from Platinum Electricians. He just talks so elegantly about creating a great customer experience. Beverly Hills real estate agent Peter Lorimer is doing some awesomely simple marketing for his service-based business. Of course, Bob Wheeler, in my last episode, long-time listener, marketing action taker, as is today's guest, Jason Spaull. Harry Sanders, the SEO expert, the world's leading SEO expert, according to SEMrush. Have a listen to that episode. And Dr. Jonathan Brown from City Skin Clinic, an old episode, but establishing a new business and putting in place some really funky and simple marketing strategies. Also, look outside your category, Kay, because there is some magic out there, not just looking inside your category. Look at what B2B businesses are doing. And you know what? all businesses are P2P, people to people. Keep that in mind. I'll put links to all those episodes over at smallbusinessbigmarketing.com/584. If you enjoyed today's episode, and I'm guessing you did if you've got this far, be sure to hit the subscribe button and leave a review on your favourite podcast app, where you'll also find 583 more chats with successful business founders that I have had over the years. And if you're ready to create some helpful marketing, and I hope you are, then grab a copy of my book, The Boomerang Effect, over at smallbusinessbigmarketing.com. As has been the case for the past 12 years, it's been me, Timbo Reid, cracking the whip, Muso Lockie Doley banging the pots and pans, and producer Romy Sher stitching it all together. Thanks for tuning in. May your marketing be the absolute best marketing. Bye for now.